Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Masi and this is Masi Trades. And on this week's video on this channel, I'm going to show you guys all of my charting techniques. I'm going to go through and show you how I find areas of support and resistance, areas of consolidation within a stock, and then exactly what I'm looking for when I look for key level breakouts within a stock. So let's go ahead and get started. All right guys, so here I have my Thinkorswim platform. I have Apple open here. We're going to go ahead and go through Apple and chart Apple together. And I'm going to show you exactly how I chart and what I look for when I'm looking for levels, resistance and support areas, etc., etc. So this is the 3-year weekly time frame here on Apple. So what I like to do when I first start charting is I always start from the highest time frame and work my way down to the intraday levels or the intraday time frames. The reason you want to look at the highest time frame first is because it gives you an overall picture of the trend that the stock is on currently. So that is going to help you make an informed decision throughout the day, whether you're day trading, swinging, scalping, whatever the case may be. You know what the overall trend of the stock is. And another reason why I use a top-down approach is because 90% of the time when I'm charting from the 3-year weekly and work my way down, the levels that you set on the higher time frames, if you set your levels properly, they should be hitting on the smaller time frames. You shouldn't have to add multiple levels as you continuously go down each time frame here. Usually once I chart like the 3-year and the 1-year, I'm not setting many more levels until I get up until the 1 minute, and the 1 minute is where I set more intraday levels and pre-market levels and such. First thing that I do when I start charting on any time frame is I'll chart the highs and the lows on that time frame. So here we have a 327.85 high and then a 128.90 low. Obviously I don't see Apple hitting 128.90 anytime soon, but I just like to chart it for my own personal reference. So first we're going to go ahead and chart this 327.85 here, and then we're going to go ahead and chart the low at 128.90. Alright, so once I set the high and the low, I like to start on the left side of the chart. Obviously that's the oldest part of the chart, to the right, which is what's currently happening on the chart. And the reason I like doing that is because when you are charting from the left to the right, 90% of the time, if you're charting it correctly, whatever levels that you've set as support and resistance levels should be hitting all the way throughout the chart. So if you set a level somewhere here and you run your cursor through, it should be a support and resistance level all the way throughout your chart. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my drawing tools and I'm actually going to zoom in to this left side of the chart here. And what I'm going to do, so this is how I determine support and resistance area. So right here at this 128.90, I'm going to start here. You can see that the stock is on an uptrend. So you need to ask yourself, where does this uptrend end? And you can see here, stock is on an uptrend, takes a little small break here, nothing really too serious, and it continues to move up. And right here is where the uptrend ends. You can see that the stock consolidates and then takes a dip. So this is where the uptrend ends. This is where my first level of resistance is going to be on this 3-year time frame, 3-year weekly time frame. It's going to be at this, and I usually just eyeball it on these higher time frames. So it's like 156.93 is what I've set it at. Now, you could obviously, if you're a newer trader, I would zoom in and properly set the level. So this is probably a little high from the candles here, so I'm going to go ahead and set it a little lower just for your reference, and I set it at the highest wick of this candle. So I set this at the 156.63. You can see now I want to zoom out and kind of just zoom into the middle of this chart here, and you can see this level of resistance that we set here. The stock takes a dip and then kind of tries to break that level of resistance. It's not able to fully break. This is not a strong break here. It's not really able to hold that long on this level of a support. It looks like it's kind of consolidating here. There's not really an uptrend or downtrend. So I'm not going to set a level of resistance here. I'm going to wait till I see a stronger break above this previous resistance level that I had set. I'm going to set that level as a resistance instead of this consolidation period that I see here. So once the stock takes a dip here, you want to zoom back out. So you can see that stock takes a dip here, kind of consolidates around this area, and then it breaks out. So once it breaks out here, it creates a new level of resistance. So you can see that the stock breaks out, goes on an uptrend again, and then where does that uptrend end? The uptrend ends on this candle right here. That is my new level of resistance on this chart. And this looks like it's around 176.50. So now how I know that I set this level of resistance correctly, if you move your cursor along, you can see that this level of resistance hit multiple times. Now, what you can do, if you'd like, you can set this level of resistance a little higher. As you move your cursor up, you can see that it did go a little bit higher than this 176.50 level that we have set. So I'm actually going to remove this drawing and move this to the next highest candle up, which is this one right here. Now I'm not going to move it to this wick because this wick, it to me looks like an abnormality. It doesn't really look like the stock took a strong push up. The January 15, 2018 candle, I'm going to use that as my resistance area, kind of in between this area and this area of resistance. So now, when you zoom out, you can see a clearer picture of this area of resistance and support. So stock went on an uptrend here, wasn't able to break out, was rejected, kind of consolidated along this line, along this level at 156.63. Stock broke out of the 156.63, created a new level of resistance, and now this level of resistance, this area of consolidation is your level of resistance and support, and you can see that the stock is continuously bouncing back and forth between these two levels until it finally breaks out. Now, when you zoom into this area here, you can see that the stock broke out right here. Wasn't a strong breakout. You can see that the stock took a little push up, wasn't able to really hold, and then was pulled back to that resistance level that now is our support level. So I'm not going to set a level here. I'm going to see what this looks like on a shorter time frame instead of setting this level here on the 3-year weekly time frame. Now what I'm going to look for now is that the stock bounced off this support level that we have set at 180.25 it looks like, and once it bounced off this support level, the stock now goes on an uptrend. Now what we're going to look for is where that uptrend ends once this stock takes a pullback to our support level. So the stock goes on an uptrend, goes on an uptrend, goes on an uptrend, and you can see right here, this is where the uptrend ends. And how I can tell that that's where the uptrend ends is that the stock is now no longer moving up, it is now moving side to side. So this is a sideways move. There's no trend on this stock right now. It's a consolidation period because the stock is moving side to side. It's not moving up or down. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add an area of our resistance level right here. I'm going to add it on this candle. This candle doesn't look like it was a strong breakout either. Looks like it was kind of a false breakout here. So I'm going to place it on this candle right here. And if you zoom in, you can even zoom in and place it as close to that wick as you can get it. And the closest to that wick looks like it's 229.72. I would probably round it to 229.75. I like whole numbers better. That's usually what I play. I don't like to have those little 1 penny, 2 penny numbers. I like to round it to the nearest whole number. I think it's easier that way. So now this level of resistance, what does the stock do? Consolidates around this level of resistance, and then it is rejected at this level of resistance. It's not able to break up, and the stock now goes on a downtrend. So what we're going to do is zoom out. Now when the stock goes on this downtrend here, what does it do? Now this is exactly if you miss levels, this is what you're going to miss. So the stock goes on a downtrend. Say you have puts on this stock and the stock is on a downtrend, you don't have a solid exit point. Now, if you had set, if we go back into this left side here, if you had set this level of support here, I purposely ignored this level of support for you guys. If you had set this level of support here, the stock, you can see that this level of resistance, the stock took a dip. So what did we see? What did we see here? The stock was an uptrend, created a level of resistance, and then took a dip. Now I didn't mark this level of support here. Now, later in the chart, you can see that that support area that we didn't mark here, that we missed, becomes another support area of support later in the chart. Now, if you had puts on this, if you were shorting the stock or had puts on this stock, you would know exactly where to exit because that is where your level of support is, and you would have a solid exit point if you had this area, this level of support set. at the 141.38, it looks like. So just pay attention to all of that. I did that on purpose just so you guys could kind of see what it looks like later in the chart. So if you are really accurately setting those levels of resistance and support, you're going to find that they hit later in the chart multiple times. Moving along the chart, this was our next level. So we had this level set at the 141.38. You can see that it bounced off this 141.38 and then created a new resistance level. So where does this uptrend end? Once the stock bounces off of this level, goes on an uptrend, where does the uptrend end? It is rejected right here at this level. And this level is the 215. I'm going to set it at 215.75 level, or 215.45. All right, so I set that at the 215.45 level. If you zoom in, you could probably set it. No, 215.45 looks pretty accurate. And what does the stock do? So the stock goes on an uptrend, creates a level of resistance, and now it is rejected. What does it do? It goes back to our last level of resistance. That's now our level of support. Once it bounced off this level of support, it's now in kind of a consolidation period. Tested this 215.45 level again, wasn't able to break. Finally broke out and is now on an uptrend. Apple has currently been on an uptrend for the past few months. So Apple has been on an uptrend for the past few months now. So when you look at this right side of the chart, you can potentially set this level of support right here. It does look like the stock started to consolidate a little bit right here. Personally, I would like to see this on a smaller time frame. I don't really want to chart this on this 3-year weekly. I don't see a solid support and resistance area, but when you look at this on a smaller time frame, you will see a more solid area of support and resistance. The 3-year weekly, that's how I chart pretty much every single time frame. And once I'm done with the 3-year weekly, I'll work my way down. So from the 1 day, 1 year, 1 day, all the way down to the 1 minute. Now I chart all of these levels exactly the same, just like I showed you guys right now. The only level that I do chart a little bit differently is the 1 minute level, because I set pre-market levels on the 1 minute, 1 day, 1 minute time frame, and I also set intraday levels. I'm going to show you guys also how I chart intraday levels as well as pre-market levels. This is Apple on the 13th of February. So this part of the video was recorded a little bit later because I forgot to show you guys how I chart the pre-market and 1 minute daily levels. So we're on the 1 day, 1 minute time frame. And you can see Apple here, pre-market. These are all its pre-market moves right here, and after market hours right here. So if we were going to watch Apple here today on February 13th on Thursday, what I would do is probably zoom into this pre-market area right here, right before the market opens, which is like right. So I would watch Apple right until about when the market opens. So like right here. So these are all the pre-market levels here on Apple. Now, this right here, you can chart this high here as your pre-market high. So what I would do is I'll set a pre-market level here at the high, the 328.01. It could fill this wick all the way up throughout the day. And then also what I would like to chart is this consolidation area right here. This is more of a consistent consolidation area. You can see here you have a level of resistance, so I will chart that level of resistance. It looks like at close to around 324. I probably chart it around 324.40 just to get the high of this wick right here, and then the high of this candle. If you 321.20, this price level I set here. I didn't set this on the 1 day, 1 minute time frame. This was set previously. So you can see how the stock follows those levels pre-market and after market hours as well. I also see another level right here of resistance. The stock was consolidating right here. This was a support, and then the previous resistance was about 325.92 it looks like. So I'm going to actually add a level right there as well. You could probably put it a little bit, 325.92. So you can see the stock broke that level and then created a new level of support, and then broke that level of support, and then to our level down here that we had previously set. Now if you watch Apple throughout the day, let's see what it did. So this is 9:30 at the open here. The stock breaks that pre-market level of 324.40 and starts to push. And let's see, so it wasn't, all right, so you can see perfectly what it does. It pushes to that 325.92 level right here. Wasn't able to break it. So you could have potentially caught Apple, whoops. So you could have potentially caught Apple at the open if you wanted to play it at the open from the break of this 324.40 level to the 325.92 pre-market levels. Both of those were just pre-market levels that I just set. So you could have caught that small move on Apple. And now say we're watching Apple throughout the day. You can see that throughout the day it's touched this 325 or 324.40 pre-market level multiple times. So once here, wasn't able to break, pushes back down, and then around 10:25, what time is this? 10:26, it did break. So you could have caught this scalp down with the pre-market level here at the 325 or 324.40 level. You could have caught this scalp down at 10:23 if you had set that level. And then you can see once it breaks that level down, creates a new support, and that support was actually a pre-market support. If you look back here, if we scroll back, you can see that if we had set this pre-market support here at the 323.50, it looks like it touched really close to 323.50, but I actually missed that pre-market support. So that's why it's really important to set your pre-market levels, because they will help you if you're scalping, especially if you're scalping throughout the day. They will help you catch these smaller scalp moves that a lot of people miss. And you can see as the stock moves, it touched again twice on this 324 level, 324.40 pre-market level, and you could have played the stock in between the moves up and down if you like to buy at the dip. So say I'm watching Apple, like let's move this over a little bit. So say I'm watching Apple like this. I already have my pre-market level set now. If you want to catch smaller scalps, with stocks like Apple, I don't like to do this, but with stocks like Tesla, stocks that move a little in bigger increments like Tesla and Amazon, I'll set like intraday levels as well, because even though they might move in those intraday levels, those small moves, they move in like $1, $2 increments, so you're still going to catch a nice profit. But what I would like to do, I usually do, is I'll set intraday levels. So if the stock here creates a resistance here, you can see that if you had set this resistance level here, the stock touched once, touched twice, broke a little bit, wasn't able to really hold, and then the second time it broke, you could have caught this scalp right here. So now this level here could be your intraday support at 324.98-ish. And support level, because you can see that the stock starts to consolidate in between this support and resistance. And then right here, you can see that it broke this 325.27 level, and you could have caught this scalp up here on Apple until the next resistance level of 325.92 that we had previously set. So that's how I set intraday levels and the level. Alright guys, so that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions regarding any of my charting techniques, anything that I've said within the video, go ahead and shoot me a DM on either of my Instagram accounts. I will post them both down below as well. If you have any suggestions for the next video or anything that you want to see, go ahead and shoot me a DM regarding that as well. And I'll see you guys in next week's video.